From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 10 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. A student's death causing heartbreak and raising questions about the safety of a Billings intersection. Tonight, a large crowd of friends gathered near that intersection on Rimrock Road and Virginia Lane for a vigil to remember the teen who lost her life in Tuesday's horrible crash. 17-year-old Christine Croft was a student at Billings Senior High School. The crash happening shortly after school got out yesterday afternoon. Police say that Croft was driving a Toyota sedan north on Virginia Lane, attempted to turn onto Rimrock Road when she pulled out in front of a Dodge Ram pickup. Croft's younger sister was a passenger in the car and was also injured in the accident. The coroner says Croft died at the scene of blunt force trauma. The people in the pickup were okay. There's no word yet if any charges have been filed. A teacher at Christine Croft's church put out the word to a small group about a candlelight vigil, and it turned out to be much more, with dozens of schoolmates also showing up tonight. Q2's David J. has more from MSUB near where that crash happened.
Russ, the crash happened over in that direction at Virginia Lane and Rimrock Road, and they held the vigil about 25 yards away in this parking lot at MSUB. First they were expecting about 20 people, but about 100 showed up to honor Christine Croft.
What it turned out was something much bigger, much more than what I could ever imagined. And I was not expecting most of these people to come, but it just goes to show me the love that they have for not only Christine, but their fellow man. And it's awesome that they're all here to show up supporting of the Croft family.
She was one of my best friends, and just hearing about it, I burst into tears. But I know that she's okay. And I know that her family will be okay too.
You'll be just fine. You will be fine. And that's my message. To let her life live on through your example.
I'm a very hopeful person and very optimistic. And I have faith that they will be okay. Any times of struggle, keep holding on. And don't let go.
The fact that you're no longer here will always cause me pain. But you're forever in my heart until we meet again.
So they had some prayer, a moment of silence, and some of the students and friends talked about Christine as well. And after it was all over, some of them stayed around to kind of be with each other and comfort each other. Russ, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you. That was David J. reporting. Now, the spot where the teen was killed will have a new traffic light installed this summer. City traffic engineers said today the light was already planned for an installation and not because of last night's fatal crash, but there had been concern about that intersection. Q2's Mitch Legge is taking a closer look and shows us how blind Virginia Lane and Rimrock Road truly is.
If you spent much time in Billings, you're likely familiar with this intersection at Rimrock Road and Virginia Lane. It's an intersection that feels pretty dangerous to drive on if you're one of these cars on Virginia, and that's due to a lack of sight lines. In this video shot Wednesday, you can see the problem pretty clearly. The stop line for vehicles on Virginia Lane is set back approximately 3 yards from where drivers can actually see oncoming Rimrock Road traffic. The object that's obstructing the view is a fence on private property. Cars have to nearly go to the edge of oncoming traffic to see whether it's clear to turn right or left from Virginia Lane. The good news is, the intersection is scheduled to have a traffic light constructed sometime this summer. City traffic engineers said Tuesday that the light project has been in the works for months and design started in October of last year. The intersection was identified as one that could be improved based on an ongoing city traffic signal study that gathers traffic data at various intersections that then gets compared to federal standards. Surprisingly, in the last 3 years, there's only been 2 crashes at Virginia and Rimrock, but that only accounts for accidents with police reports filed. The number of wintertime fender benders is likely higher.
We're progressing as fast as we can with it. The accident last night is tragic, it's unfortunate, and we are going forward as fast as we can to get the signal poles ordered and delivered on time so that the project will be constructed this summer.
Claunch said the signals should arrive sometime within the next few weeks, with the City Council approving a contractor for a bid sometime in May or June. In Billings, Mitch Legge, MTN News.
Thanks, Mitch. The city program to analyze road intersections recently added traffic lights to intersections at Rimrock Road and 54th Street West, along with a new light at 24th Street West and Overland Avenue. An armed standoff between law enforcement and a Livingston man continues this evening after starting more than 30 hours ago. Deputies attempted to serve a court-ordered eviction to 49-year-old Michael Marfuda. It all began around 1:30 yesterday afternoon when deputies attempted to serve that at his home in Livingston's View Vista community. Park County Sheriff Brad Bickler tells MTN News that Marfuda shot at deputies and tactical team 2 separate times after confronting deputies with a knife. There have been no reported injuries, and the sheriff says that they're trying to get to a peaceful end and that no one wants to have it turn deadly. The property manager says Marfuda has been living there for several years. The Red Cross and local emergency management agencies are helping put residents up in hotels, and multiple agencies from across the state are supporting local authorities. Well, after a review of death certificates, Riverstone Health has determined that more people died from COVID-related illness than originally reported in Yellowstone County. 47 additional deaths were reported following the review. The deaths occurred between September 3rd of 2020 and January 13th of this year, mostly outside of hospitals and private nursing homes or assisted living facilities. Even if the deceased tested positive for COVID, it isn't counted as a COVID death until a physician makes a determination for the death certificate. COVID is now blamed for the deaths of 226 residents of Yellowstone County. Now we want to send it over to Krista Rose for a first look at weather. And remember when it was warm like yesterday? It has certainly turned quickly.
Not just warm, record warm, 62 degrees yesterday, although today we are tracking snow across the region. If you take a look at our radar right there, the little white pops, yeah, that's snow. There might still be some snow lingering in our area for the next couple of hours. But as you look at the map, well, we've got a lot of different watches, warnings, and advisories. The wind chill advisory in northeastern Montana tonight could see 20 below zero, and winter storm watch that goes into effect tomorrow night, going to be bringing with it some snow. Here are current wind chills right now across the state and up in the northeastern corner. Boy, is it cold. And here's our GFS model showing we are going to get some snow here in Billings. How much will it be? Well, I'll tell you all about it in the full forecast coming up in just a few, so stick around.
All right, thank you, Chris. Well, Wyoming Representative Liz Cheney has survived a vote by House Republicans to keep her leadership spot after she defended her support for impeaching former President Trump as a vote of conscience. Cheney was one of a handful of House Republicans to cross party lines and vote to impeach Trump for inciting the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol that left 5 people dead. Cheney began the meeting with a nearly 8-minute long speech offering what was described as a calm yet firm defense of the Constitution. She did not apologize during her remarks. The majority of Republicans did not air grievances toward her, but Montana Representative Matt Rosendale was said to have engaged in a fiery conversation with Cheney, according to a person in the room, speaking loudly and angrily at the third-ranking House Republican.
It was a very resounding acknowledgement that we need to go forward together and that we need to go forward in a way that helps us beat back the really dangerous and negative Democrat policies.
Well, put U.S. veterans at the top of the COVID vaccine priority list. That was the message to President Joe Biden from Montana Senator Jon Tester today. Tester, who chairs the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, was among top Senate Democrats who met with the president today to go over details of the administration's COVID relief package. Q2's Jay Cohn spoke with Montana's senior senator following that White House meeting.
Included in the president's $1.9 trillion COVID rescue plan, $17 billion for veterans to fuel a robust vaccine distribution effort that is currently bogged down along the supply chain.
Let me put it this way, I'm not happy. We need to get more vaccines in. The VA is putting it into people's arms at a 90% rate. So when they get it, it's going in the arms. We just need to get more vaccines. At the current rate, it's going to be 2 years before all the veterans get vaccinated. We're going to be work hard to ramp that up, Jay, and it's part of what I took up with the president today, and it's part of what we're going to be taking up in the Veterans Affairs Committee.
In just 10 days, Chairman Tester says his VA committee will begin full oversight into the COVID vaccine situation. It will include top VA officials, pharmaceutical manufacturers, and the top bosses from Health and Human Services.
How much we're getting now is unacceptable. And when I hear veterans say, well, I've given up on the VA, I'm going to go to the local, health department to get my vaccine, that's unacceptable. And so we need to step it up. It's one of the reasons I've been pushing hard to get Dennis McDonough confirmed as Secretary of the VA. Then I've got a point person within the VA that I can call every single day and harass him about getting more vaccines into Montana and, quite frankly, to veterans all over the country.
Tester says McDonough's confirmation as the new VA secretary is tentatively set to come before the full Senate next Monday. And as for the timeline for the first votes on the Biden COVID relief package, the senator says that's still some 6 to 8 weeks away. In Billings, I'm Jay Cohn reporting for MTN News.
Thanks, Jay. If confirmed by the Senate, nominee Dennis McDonough will take over the helm of the second largest federal agency, which operates America's largest healthcare system. Montana lawmakers are considering a bill to resume executions through lethal injection in the state. MTN's Jonathan Amberian reports from the Capitol.
Since 2015, Montana has effectively been unable to administer the death penalty. House Bill 244 would make a change in state law intended to allow executions to go forward. In 2015, a district judge in Helena ruled the state's planned drug for lethal injections wasn't ultra-fast as required by state law. HB 244 would broaden that law, giving the state more options for possible drugs to use. The bill received support from Attorney General Austin Knudsen and a number of county attorneys. Knudsen said the companies that make ultra-fast drugs no longer provide them for executions. He said this language mirrors what other states have used, and that it's the best option to withstand legal challenges.
The language you see in front of you is what we believe is going to give us the strongest legal position to defend that and be able to actually carry out the will of this legislature in carrying out capital cases.
Opponents of the bill, including the ACLU and Montana Innocence Project, said it was too broad and didn't provide enough assurances that a new lethal injection procedure will be painless.
The specificity of an ultra-fast-acting barbiturate was to make this the least painful process as possible. The specificity is necessary.
During the hearing, the committee chair asked those testifying to keep to the specifics of the bill. He said a broader discussion about the death penalty should be held off until later this session, when a bill to repeal it is likely to be heard. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Right now, Montana has 2 prisoners sentenced to death. The state last executed a prisoner in 2006. The committee also heard testimony today on House Bill 264, which would revise laws on passing emergency vehicles. Currently, drivers have to slow down and move over when passing stopped firefighters, police, or ambulances showing emergency lights. The bill would add tow trucks to that and establish penalties for failing to slow down. In October, tow truck operators Nick Visser and Casey Allen were killed on Interstate 90 near Columbus when a passing vehicle hit them. Their families joined firefighters and other emergency responders in supporting the bill.
We must protect those who are protecting us. Their job is to save lives, and we must give them assurance that they are protected also.
The 30 seconds extra that it would have taken or will take for folks to slow down through an emergency zone may just save someone's life.
The committee also heard a bill on school bus safety but did not take any immediate action. Nearly 50 dogs from a meat farm in China are in Great Falls as they wait to go to a rescue in Canada. Those dogs are being housed at Happy Tails. They were flown from China to Los Angeles, then driven to the Canadian border to cross into Canada. But when they got to the border, no vet was available to check them out, so the organization transported the dogs to Happy Tails to take them in. The dogs were only supposed to be there for the weekend, but because of bad weather, that transport organization has had to delay taking them into Canada. Dogs are now expected to be taken to Canada tomorrow. Still ahead on the MTN 10 o'clock news here on Q2. From chickpeas to lentils, World Pulses Day is a week away. We're going to learn more about that in the Egg Report coming up next. Then later in sports, we'll head up to Rocky as the newest Battling Bears put pen to paper on National Signing Day.
From Montana's news leader,